Hi guys, welcome back. We've got a new toy to play with from the mad world of ALDI special buys. This is their Adventuridge, that's their proprietary brand of outdoor gear. It's a little handheld monocular, so this is a 10 by 40 fixed magnification monocular, but it also comes as a complete kit with a little phone adapter, a tripod and all sorts of things. So I'm hoping that we might be able to use this as a digital spotting scope. It might be quite useful on the channel, certainly for filming some of our downrange stuff. Of course, it's probably going to be quite useful as well for typical outdoor stuff, bird spotting and things like that. Now, the mad thing with this, it was only £12.99p, so certainly more on the toy end of the scale, but it should be a fun little gadget to play with. I've already had a little go with it. It was nestled between the arc welders and the inflatable kayaks. Right, let's get into it and I'll show you what you get for the money. Right, it comes with a nice little pouch. I don't know why they don't make these pouches just a little bit bigger than they need to, as opposed to wedging everything in super tightly. Right, that's the phone adapter. Right, nice little pouch if you want it. Right, so that's the monocular itself. It feels fairly plasticky. It's got sort of a rubberized texture on the outside here. Now, it's a fixed 10 magnification. We've got a 40mm objective here. Now, the interesting thing, I've also got a compass as well. Please don't ever put yourself in a position where you need to rely on this compass. It's not very accurate, but it'll do a job. Now, we've also got on the bottom here a standard camera thread. It's the 1/4" thread that you'll see on a lot of camera accessories. But the whole idea with this being that we can pop the little tripod on the bottom. Now, it's got one of these little wire-legged tripods. These are not very good, actually. A number of years ago, I was filming out of the car. I was just driving onto the Isle of Wight ferry. It was right up about 40 foot above the water. I was hanging out the passenger window of the car with the GoPro on one of these, just hand holding it, and one of the legs snapped off. They're sort of a wire leg inside, and I caught the actual remnants of it as it fell out of my hand. So luckily I didn't lose the camera, but I really nearly did. It was hilarious, but not something I want to repeat again, so I'm definitely going to replace this tripod in a moment. Right, as you can see, you've got the slightly bendable legs on there, so you can sit it where you need to. It's got a little articulating ball joint on there, but I certainly would look at getting a slightly better tripod. They're relatively inexpensive nowadays. This is definitely on the flimsy side, especially if you've got a relatively expensive phone on the back of this. It's all a little bit flimsy, but if you're just going to use it as a spotting scope, maybe propped up on the roof of your car, something like that, whatever, that will work quite well. But once we start looking at putting this on, now this is a fairly agricultural phone adapter. This pushes onto the eyepiece on the back and allows you to connect your phone up. Now, I've been playing with this already. There's a few little tricks you need to know about setting your phone up if you want to actually get it connected to this. You'll see that it's sort of angled over at the moment. I'll show you when I grab the other phone. I've got my old phone, so it's an old Pixel phone, but the majority of modern phones, of course, have a number of different cameras on them. If you ever try and film anything, they always try and auto switch between cameras, between sort of macro and the wide ones. So what you do need to do is go into the pro mode in the camera, and you can set it just to the wide angle camera. Now that will fix it on that camera there, so it won't want to start jumping back and forwards. And of course, what we then need to do is effectively line this up with the eyepiece on the back, and you can see that you need to adjust it. So I shall show you roughly how to do that now. In a moment, we're going to take this up the farm and see whether or not we can actually use this as a live viewer. So instead of having to get down, peer through the eyepiece and use it as a traditional spotting scope, I'm hoping that once we've got it set up, we can leave the camera behind it, then we can record it through the video functions on the phone. So I'm going to put this together. I'm going to swap this tripod over quickly. I've got a nice Arca Swiss tripod here, which I'll show you now. Because this has the standard camera thread on here, there's all manner of different Arca Swiss adapters that you can get, and they're very inexpensive nowadays, so I'll show you what I'm going to do with it. Alright, this is my little Arca Swiss tripod. I did a video on this last year actually. Now this was about 40 quid, so 4 times the price of the monocular, but I'm using tripods all the time now. A better quality tripod's always a good option. It's really quite stout. Now Arca Swiss plates, they're super cheap. The one that I was actually going to use in the video currently is on the phone that you're on. However, what we can do, all of these, they're available in lengths from a couple of inches right up. We might be able to actually make a slightly more substantial rig. If we put that on there like that, screw that on there tight. See, I reckon if we can get some decent image quality out of this, we could potentially sit that a bit further forward and actually put the GoPro behind it on one of these Arca Swiss plates. Now that, right, straight away, look, that's way more solid. Right, so on the top here, this is your focus adjuster. So this effectively adjusts, as on a rifle scope, this would effectively be your parallax distance. Now what I have noticed with this is it has a relatively short depth of field. Little spring-loaded clamp on here. Now that will hold your phone. And what we effectively need to do, once we've set this to a certain lens, we want to get that roughly lined up off of the rig first. Interesting little thing here, because a lot of modern phones have sticky ALDI cameras. Of course, they're a lot bigger than the phone bodies are nowadays. Hopefully you can see that it sits at a bit of a funny angle. Ideally, what we really want to do is put a spacer between the clamp piece here and this main bracket here, just to sort of straighten it all back up and give you a slightly more squarer clamping face there, but it will certainly do for the moment. Right, I have the camera set now, so I can choose which of the lenses. Now that's looking through the little adapter at the moment. You can see around the shed. Right, let's pop that on the back there. That pushes straight on here. Just looking at the shed at the moment for plant pots. So that's the first bit of recorded footage. I'm just adjusting the focus knob at the moment. It'll be interesting when it comes to edit to see what this actually looks like. Here the old sparrows. Right, let's get out the farm. Right, we're here. I'm just down the end of the sheltered spot, so this is just under 25 yards. Now, this is one of the specific reasons I'm hoping that we can use this camera. When I'm at the range, I can't really put a downrange camera there. I've got guys shooting next to me with 22LRs and things. Of course, when we're at the farm, we can put downrange cameras, we can put them all down here wherever we need to. It's no bother. But I'm hoping that in the future, that when I start doing some more of the bench rest competitions, I can actually have my camera back up at my firing point and looking down at my cards as I shoot them. So we're going to go and see if we can set the camera up back behind us at the firing point and just go and have a zoom in on this and see if we can actually get a decent image. Now, we've got some pretty tricky light conditions today. We've actually got the sun straight up above us, so it's going to be pretty tricky. I think it might need to have a little sunshade on it. And also for the pistol shooting, I'm hoping that we can use it as a live viewer, because shooting with the open sights, of course, I can't see where the actual impact points are. So let's see if we can actually make this thing work, shall we? Big camera's on, so I've got a target just under 25 yards, so it's a little bit shorter than I'd be shooting the bench rest at. I mentioned earlier about the shorter Arca Swiss plates. The one that we was using actually to hold the phone when we were filming in the shed, so you can see it's only sort of, what, 1.5 inches long. There's also various different sort of phone clamps. I've got some slightly higher quality ones than this portion here, so if we can actually make this work, I'm going to probably look at modifying it. But I'm also now a bit more curious to whether we can actually get the DJI camera, the DJI camera behind the monocular. So we sit the monocular up the front here. We'll maybe have to make a little bracket to hold it all behind it. I think that would be pretty useful, especially for some of the longer range shooting. But I'm going to get the phone on here quickly now. It's a little bit flimsy here. Now, I won't know what this footage really looks like until we get it into edit, but it looks relatively clear from here. Now, I'm on 1 magnification on the screen. 2, let's see. Okay, so you probably can't tell from there, but the image is definitely very blurred around the outside edge. We've got a reasonably clear spot right in the centre. Right, let's put that up. So we've got 10 mag in this. We're on 2 mag now, so we've got digital 2x zoom, 10. So is that going to be 20? Doesn't look like it on the screen here. Well, I can get some reasonably, well, they certainly appear to be reasonable. No, they're still really blurry. Okay, so at 25, that's not going to work particularly well. Certainly I can't get it. I've been playing with this for a little while now, and it doesn't appear to be able to focus in quite the detail that we need to. That's a bit frustrating, so I don't think we're going to be able to use it as a firing point camera looking downrange at this sort of range. Hopefully we can then, I'm going to bring the targets, so we'll get a couple of pistol targets out. These will be shot at 10 metres typically. I'm hoping that that may well work, so let's give that a try. Right, after a little bit of messing around, so we're at 10 metres now. You can see the target's just down here, but I can actually, so trying to video it doesn't really work very well, but I've got it on the camera settings at the moment, so it's on just the standard factory settings. I've selected the wide view camera, and I can actually zoom in pretty well. Now, you won't be able to see an awful lot through the GoPro that you're on at the moment, but by eye, that's a reasonably sharp image that I've got there. Well, I can actually see where my point of impact is on the screen. Now, of course, we're a bit tight down the alleyway. If we was actually at the range, I could set it a little bit further down, and we could probably actually use that at 10 metres. Past that, it seems like it's a bit of a problem. I pulled that one. Oh, he's all over the place today. Let's get warmed up a little bit. It's a bit frustrating how it won't fully focus. There's probably something in the settings that I may need to adjust. Oh, it's getting a bit high. I imagine that it's because of the higher magnification that we're using, obviously, to actually get a reasonable image size here. Just don't think the clarity of the monocular is enough. It just washes out. Got quite a lot of chromatic aberration there. Oh, you're doing like a good. Have I just stamped that one in the middle? Absolutely terrible. Well, strangely enough, the DJI camera behind it looks pretty good, but we just aren't going to be able to get the magnification, I don't think, to do what we want. It's a pretty cool gadget, but I think we've reached the limitations with its optical clarity that we've got here. So I'm literally just holding the DJI camera behind it at the moment. I think maybe we'll make up a little rig. I've got some bits and pieces. I think maybe in a different video we'll knock up a little sort of a tripod rig or something like that and see if we can do something better with this, because I think there's a bit more mileage in it. Oh, it's going. I'm just adjusting the focus, trying to zoom in on the goose, but one magnification on your camera for a little bit of filming using the base 10 in the monocular, you can get some reasonable quality footage. I mean, it's 12 quid, let's be honest, it's not a lot of money, and we can probably fine tune that image a bit more, but I don't think to use it as a digital live view spotting scope it's going to be much good. Let's just see if we can adjust the focus on there. Geese are really angry at the moment. Alright, let's see what that looks like when we get it into the computer. It looks pretty blurry my end. Right, Crowzilla, 55 paces, 1 mag, 2 mag, can we go to 5 mag? Doesn't look too bad this end. Right, so I've got 5 mag on the phone itself. I mean, that's definitely not 50 magnification, I know that much. Alright, it's not too bad, bring good light, bright yellow target. I don't know, it's a good little novelty, I quite like it. I think it's been quite a fun little thing to have a look play with. I think we've definitely got some mileage to improve the image quality, but I don't think it's going to do what we need it to. Actually, as a little spotting scope, it works pretty well. I mean, you can't expect much for £13, but I'm sure we can get something. I'm sure we can improve the image quality somehow. So we just can't auto-focus it. I don't know, I'm a bit stumped. Right, I've been playing with this for a little while longer, just on the settings and everything else, it's super pedantic. The little camera frame itself, if I wiggle it now, you can see the lens is moving. It really is quite hard. The actual very centre of the image that you see through the monocular is reasonably clear, but if you're even slightly angled on the actual phone itself, the bracketry is not perfectly square, you start to notice quite a lot of chromatic aberration around the image, and we just can't get the magnification up and get them to focus in the same plane, so it's always going to look a little bit blurry. Well, I've got no idea what this video is going to end up like. It's probably going to be a bit of blurry footage left, right and centre as per usual. I've got to be honest though, it's pretty good. For £13 to use it as a handheld spotter, it's pretty reasonable. Of course you're not going to be getting mega clarity and build quality for £13. I think unfortunately I was expecting a little bit too much from it. It certainly seemed to be a bit better when you had the GoPro behind it, so I think we've got a bit of mileage there. The phone, it just seems too pedantic. It's really awkward to set up, even the slightest of movements on it and it all starts to go blurry. We've got a very, very narrow sort of window that's sort of sharp in the picture there. 13 quid as a nice little novelty gift, brilliant. I'm actually going to keep this, I think, in my fishing bag through the summer when we're out lure fishing for bass. regularly you'll see birds working, and actually a little monocular like this is going to be really, really useful. Don't think it's going to be overly weatherproof, but at that sort of money it doesn't really matter. But well, not overly disappointed. Maybe I was expecting to try and get too much out of it, especially given the cost of it. So that'll do it for this one, guys. I'm going to come back to this at some point and we'll see if we can improve the performance of it. But Adventuridge 10x40 monocular, good fun little bit of kit, but probably not going to be great for running a YouTube channel on. See you later.